Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday. It is chilly, can you tell? It got down to 2 degrees overnight and it's about 9 degrees out here in the kitchen at the moment. So it's not, I always say it's not that cold compared to a lot of places, but for us it's pretty chilly. And with my nerve condition, the cold air is really just very unpleasant. So I prefer to look like a dork, rugged up with, you know, around my face and a dorky looking beanie on than to suffer through it. So that's life. Now, I don't think I even turned the camera on yesterday. It was Saturday. Darryl was home helping me out. He's at church at the moment with the kids who go to church, and the twins, I think, are up visiting Nana. I'm in the kitchen on my own for the moment, and sometimes that's the problem with getting stuff done, is that if there's people moving around and doing stuff, it's really hard to film. So because everyone was down here yesterday, I didn't get much done in the way of filming, but I did get some stuff done just in general. But we did get the frame up for half the wall. You can't see it from this angle, but half the wall is framed. We just haven't got the timber up yet, and we're still working on this end here. So we might get that done this afternoon, maybe, so that we can try and get the ply up. I do need to get lights for the ceiling here, because once that wall goes up, it's going to be a lot duller in here. And I have found the ones that I want to get. I just haven't ordered them yet. So I do need to do that because, yeah, it's going to be considerably darker in this space with the wall up, which is, it's not like, I actually prefer not to have a wall there. Like, I like the bright outdoor aspect of my kitchen. This is a choice, but we're going to have a fridge and freezer behind here and some closed-in cupboards for pots and stuff rather than open shelving. And to do that, it needs a backing, but also above this one I'm going to put some shelving up, and I can't have shelving unless there's a wall. So pros and cons. It keeps it weather protection as well and things like that. Darryl can run me power through the walls so that we have power points along the walls for the electrical stuff that needs to be on that side, and, you know, all those sorts of things. So the wall is somewhat necessary, but I'm actually going to miss having this nice wide open space. Even though the view is the dilapidated caravan, it is nice to be able to just look out and see. So this end here where my sink is not going to be walled in because we're going to eventually put an extra roof out there, because that's where my charcoal stove and the smoker and everything's going to go. So that will be open, but yes, this back wall will all be closed. So anyway, we'll do a full update on that on a different video. This is not the kitchen update. This is just the weekly cooking, but I don't know what I've recorded so far for this week. And I am back at work tomorrow, Monday, instead of Wednesday, because Darryl's away for a period of time. So I need to be, I'm working Monday, Tuesday instead of Wednesday, Thursday, which is cutting my week short, but I don't know where this will go. We will see how we go. I do need to do the update on Mum's building still, and the kitchen and everything else. So I'm hoping to record that as a separate video, and just put that out as its standalone video. But, you know, life is getting in the way. Maybe once Darryl gets this other half of the wall up, then I can do a midway kitchen update. It's still not going to be finished, but it's going to be, you know, pretty damn good. But I did want to show you the marshmallows from the other day. They turned out wonderfully. This is what they look like. I cut them up into little squares and then put the cornstarch on them. So they're all bouncy marshmallows. They can make their hot chocolates with the hot chocolate powder I made and melt a marshmallow in them as well. And that just is, it's a fun factor. Adds a little bit of maple sweetness to it too, but they are perfect. That worked out really well. I am going to try making some sugar-free ones, actually. Maybe I know we had some power issues yesterday in the kitchen. I don't know what I've got in the way of power at the moment, actually. I'm running the washing machine, so I'll wait until see how that goes. The solar that runs the kitchen also runs the daytime computers for the kids, because that's fine. The sun's hitting the panel, so generally speaking, it doesn't matter. We can run it all, and I don't run much on it at nighttime because I'm not out here at night, other than the cat water. The cat waterer runs on it overnight, and the light in the bathroom, which are minimal. So it works out okay. The kids use the kitchen solar during the day. I use the kitchen solar during the day. It runs, it's while getting sunlight. Except there's been overcast for the last few days. And so the kitchen solar got too low and we couldn't use it yesterday at all because we wanted to let it boost back up because it was overcast again. So it wasn't getting a whole lot of sunlight on there. And I don't know where it's sitting at the moment. I turned the cat waterer back on last night, ran the light and the cat waterer back last night because they needed to run. And I'm doing a load of washing now. Now the washing machine runs on the kitchen solar, but the water pump runs on the main solar. So we split the power usage of a washing machine, which helps. So we will see what it does. But if I'm okay after that, I might try making the sugar-free maple marshmallows for Darryl, and he can always take them with him to use when he's away as well, because he's staying in a dorm at the school for the church thing, so doesn't have a lot of luxuries. It's just a bed, a shared bathroom and a bed in a room, so it'd be nice to give him some luxuries for while he's there as well. We have done a few bits and pieces for him to take with him. He's going to take some of that chili oil and things like that, and he's going to stop at Costco on the way and grab some meals that he can use, because being the keto carnivore that he predominantly is, there's not a lot of options at the course function thing that he's going to. So it's a winter liturgy and then synod. And so, yeah, there's not a lot of options there for him. So it's nice for him to have some options. But yeah. So today, though, I need to go through the freezer. I'm just putting it off because it's cold. We still have smoked pork left at the moment. The kids, I made bolognese pasta bake for dinner last night. I don't think I even photographed it. I just cooked up penne and heated up the bolognese, did a bit of bechamel, and then put cheese on top and baked it. And the kids had that for dinner, and they had some leftovers for breakfast before church as well. And so I pulled bolognese out because it was nice and easy, but I need to pull some meat out to see what I'm going to be cooking for the next few days, because we're a couple of weeks into the grocery period now. We've used the grace period of easy access food, the steaks and things like that. That chicken that I didn't end up freezing, so I had to cook. We used a lot of that and that sort of thing. So now we need to start preparing for some of the meals. So that's what I might do next. I might go through the freezers and pull out meat and put them in I have a container that I put in the bottom of the fridge. So I pull out like a few days worth of meat, put them in the container, let them defrost in that container, and then use them as they defrost. So that might be the goal today. I did make a couple of focaccias yesterday. Used the larger pans, so they're thinner. So we're just going to cut those up for use today. Toasted sandwiches, bread with eggs and bacon, whatever. That's going to be lunch today. So I did them yesterday evening. I cooked them off yesterday evening. They have been in my proofing box with the proofing box turned off, which means that they too got down to like 2 degrees overnight. So it's like it's been refrigerated, but that's fine because we're going to toast them. So yeah, I'll make bacon and eggs and on toast, or ham, cheese, tomato. I think I've got some tomatoes left or something for lunch, but it is only 9:30 at the moment, so I'm still drinking my coffee. So yeah, I'm going to, that was, I got it, someone commented on one of my most recent, one of these videos, to stop the rambling, talk more while doing food prep. But part of this conversation that I have on camera is not only like discussing with you what the plans are, but also getting things set in my head. So this is a discussion. I talk to you guys as if I'm talking real time, because you guys talk back. Once it's on video, you guys talk back to me, and I get feedback, but I get it later, but that's fine. But it's about verbalizing what I'm going to do and trying to figure out in my head paths to take and that sort of thing. And most of my viewers, this is what you watch for. So if it's not your thing, skip through the talking. You can see it because you got like my head on you can skip through where my head is. Or maybe find it better. Like there is some stunningly aesthetic food prep videos out there with much better camera work, nicer kitchens, and that sort of thing. So if that's your thing, then that's your thing too. So I must admit, I watch a few of them. Mindless watching of someone else cooking and me not doing it. But anyway, so I'm going to go and figure out what's in the freezer, and then my plans for the rest of the day, knowing that I've got to work for the next 2 days, and then Darryl will be leaving first thing Wednesday morning. So I'm not going to have... the kids are on school holidays this week, so I don't have schoolwork at least this week to do with them. Their school has an extra week of school holidays versus the public school that I work at. So that's a pro. And of course, Mum's around. She works Monday to Thursday full time, but she is around, and she's around from Friday to Sunday as well. So she comes down and spends some time, generally speaking, or I go up. I went up yesterday afternoon. We'd finished that wall and we didn't want to move on to the next one. So I went up yesterday afternoon and took her some hot chocolate and a marshmallow, and we had hot chocolates with marshmallows for afternoon tea. So anyway, enough rambling, squirreling, whatever else. And I'll be back. Alrighty, hey everyone, it is Wednesday. And this is just, the weekly video that we're continuing on. So I went to work Monday, Tuesday this week instead of Wednesday, Thursday, because Darryl left this morning for Brisbane and is gone for 5 days. So I worked Monday, Tuesday instead, so that he could be home with the kids while he's gone. And things are always a little bit more challenging when there's one less adult around, with the fact that the kids are homeschooled and just the way the property works. Now, the kids are actually on school holidays already because they have an extra week of holidays. So I have the next 2 weeks off because of school holidays, but they had an extra week of school holidays. So they're on school holidays this week. When Darryl's not here, I do try and instigate a little bit more of a routine. I'm more the routine person than Darryl, and I like to have lists and things done. So I made a list this morning of what the kids needed to do before they had the opportunity to get onto their devices and things like that. So, we did 3 loads of washing, and we cleaned the bathroom, we tidied up inside, and we put dishes away and all that sort of thing. Apollo and Sonnet helped me get the rest of this framing done. So Darryl had done half the framing before he left, and we just needed the rest of that piece. We do need a small piece of framing for the end too that the kids and I might do tomorrow morning. So we've got the framing up. I don't know that we can put the ply up ourselves. I might need Darryl's help with that. The ply is it's 12mm ply, and it's 2400 by 1200. It's quite heavy, and it's around the other side of the house, and holding it in place while nailing it. And I'd have to slice it because the roof will be 20, I think it's 2040 or something, and the pieces are 2400. So I'm going to have to cut like 300mm off each piece as well, which is fine. We've got a circular saw and everything else. We just don't have the greatest setup for like sawhorses and stuff. So we'll see. Anyway, we got all that done this morning. I didn't film it last night, but last night I made fried rice with all the leftover smoked pork from the pork that I smoked on Sunday, and then we had leftovers for lunch. I did share on Facebook that I found Mum's, when I was cleaning up Mum's place, I found Mum's old day-to-day cookery book from school. And in the back of Mum's day-to-day cookery book, there is some recipes that my grandmother did in here that we used to eat all the time when I was a kid. So I was going to film it. I didn't get around to it. I will make it again and film it. But we made her coffee slice that's in the back. So we've made the slices. They just need icing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the icing and cut these up. And that will be afternoon tea. So it's 2:30 at the moment. I'm not sure what I'm doing for dinner, and I'm not sure what else I'm getting done today. I might ice these and take a piece up to Mum and just say hi. And we might do something really simple for dinner, like noodles and eggs and chicken or something, or I don't know yet, but start off easy. I have a pork that still needs to have something done with it tomorrow. So I need to do that tomorrow. I was going to mince it up. I was going to make some spring rolls, maybe sausage rolls. We'll see how we go, but that needs to be done. But in the meantime, we're going to make some icing. I did a double batch of the slice, so I did 2 of these. So we're going to mix up some icing. We are sticking with the super simple recipes. That sun is really hitting the wrong spot just there, isn't it? Super simple recipe for icing that's in this as well, which is a teaspoon of butter, a cup of icing sugar, a tablespoon of milk, and a teaspoon of coffee powder. So we're just going to stick with that super simple to go with the super simple classic slice recipe. Now I did double it, so I should probably make double the amount of icing, though we probably won't really need it, honestly, because we're just not big icing people. But that's... I've left the butter out on the bench to soften, but it's pretty chilly here today, so it hasn't softened very much, so I'll just shave it so that it's easy enough to blend through. And what did we want? We just wanted a couple of teaspoons, so that should be plenty there. And then I need some icing sugar, and it wants 2 cups, so let's just start off. We'll put, it's probably 1.5 cups maybe, and then I'll just grab the milk and we'll just blend it through, and we'll just add what we need to get it the right consistency. I'm going to use this little bit of coconut milk that was left in the fridge rather than opening a new UHT milk. And a little handheld blender would be handy here, since that butter is not very soft, but we'll just make it work. I don't want to dirty a Thermomix or KitchenAid bowl for such a small amount. But my hands are very unhappy with me at the moment, so this is not proving to be the easiest thing in the world. It's annoying me actually how bad my hands are at the moment. I haven't been able to do my hair properly, or eating with a fork can be challenging. I really want to get some beanies knit and stuff, and I'm struggling. Though I find typing and knitting not too bad so long as I concentrate on relaxing. This sort of thing is really hard. The holding of the spatula is really challenging, but I don't want it too thin. I always remember it being fairly thick when Nana did it. So she has a chocolate mint one in here too that we used to have all the time. She used Kofa. I don't buy Kofa generally speaking, but I'm sure I could get the same effect with coconut oil. Alright, so that looks pretty good. It's a bit lumpy. The butter's a little bit lumpy. We're not going to care. So all I'm going to do is split it in 2. Butter is definitely a little bit lumpy, but it's fine. Old style coffee slice from my Nana's handwritten recipe notes. It's pretty neat. I'll take some photos because I said I'd put them up on Facebook. So, but other than that for today, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I just checked in. I'll see where I go from here. I must say, it is exactly how I remember it. Sickeningly sweet almost, but with that really chewy texture, a bit like an Anzac cookie, lots of coconut, coffee hint through, really, really good, but it was so sweet. Definitely too much icing, like this was only a half batch for both slices. Definitely too much icing. Could probably do with just a little glaze drizzle, but the kids will thoroughly enjoy this for the moment. I'm going to take some up to Mum and see if she says it tastes the same. It tastes exactly how I remember it. Alrighty, it is Thursday. So I don't know what I got done yesterday that I filmed, but not a whole lot. We did easy dinner, easy day, got stuff worked on in the kitchen and things like that, but didn't get a whole lot else done. But today I have to get the last pork done. So I've got my mincer out and I'm going to mince the entire pork roast. It's about 7 kilos worth, and then I'm going to split it in half. I'm going to turn half into sausage rolls and half into spring rolls. The spring rolls can go in the freezer, so we don't have to eat them straight away. I can wrap them in the pastry and then just flash freeze them and stick them in the freezer, and they can be fried later. The sausage rolls need to be cooked as it. So the mince for the sausage rolls ends up raw in the pastry and then cooked. The mince for the spring rolls is pre-cooked, so that they don't take much to cook. They just need heating through and frying up, which is great to do from frozen. So I'm going to get it all minced up. I'm going to cook off the spring roll mince, and then that's going to go in the fridge slash freezer, whatever, to chill before I use that to wrap the spring rolls. Now I could theoretically wrap the spring rolls tomorrow. I could put in the fridge and wrap them tomorrow and then freeze them. That would be fine too. So we'll see how our day goes. First up, I'm going to get the pork cut out and cut to go through the mincer, because once it's minced, then that's the first, you know, big stretch done. I'll probably go and grab a hair tie and stuff first, because I've only just come out here and cleaned up my space. Yeah, we will see how we go. It has warmed up, so I can probably get jumper off and beanie off and stuff so that I can get this all done a little less covered, which is always good when working with raw meat. So we'll see how we go, but I'm going to pull that pork out first. All right, so this is the rolled roasts that I use, and all we do is we take the rind off, dice up the meat, and then mince it. So that's what we're going to do. Can you pass me some paper towel, please? I'm just going to use some paper towel so we don't make too much of a mess. Just break a couple of squares off for me. Can you stop and start the fly spray too for me, please? So let's just cut.
Indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor, please. A chunk off to start with. Right. And then we'll work with this bit first. And all we want to do is dice it into pieces that are suitable for the mincer. So we're just going to take the rind off. We're going to leave most of the fat behind because we want that fat in our mince, because it adds flavour and moisture. The other thing I need to do is cook up a bit of a mirepoix for the base of the sausage rolls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab out those frozen, some of that frozen stuff, and cook it off that we did the other day. Good opportunity to give it a go. I normally add bacon to it as well for the sausage rolls, which again is just adding flavour, fat, that sort of thing. And then cook all that off before adding it to the raw mince that then gets used for the sausage rolls. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to repeat this process. I've just taken the rind off, and now we just cut it into chunks that will fit in the mincer, throw it in a bowl, and then I'll bring you back to show you when I'm mincing it, because you don't need to see me cutting this entire roast up into chunks. All right, so I've got it all chunked up and we're just going to mince it now. I'm using the Louvel mincer. I mention this every time. Uses fairly low wattage. It's powerful enough to run through everything. Takes about a minute a kilo. I really like it. So we're just going to run it through, get it all minced up, and then I'm going to divide it into two, and then I'll start on the next steps required. All right, so I've split the pork into two. I put half half of it back in the fridge, in the coldest part of the fridge. I've got the some of the mirepoix mix here that I'm going to do for the base of the spring rolls. Now, normally I'd grate carrot and I'd grate onion, I'd grate garlic and all the rest of it, and I'd do it. Adding a bit of celery is not going to hurt anything. We're going to add cabbage and stuff too. So because I've already got this prepared, that's what I'm going to add. Quantity wise, I'm not sure. Now, this bag, I did bag it up in a single bag. I have some in the cubes, but I did have excess and I just didn't know what to do with it. So I put it in this bag. We're going to just cook some up. Realistically, spring rolls taste kind of vegetative as well as meaty, so I'm gonna wing it in quantities and cook it up and cook the water out of it. So because it's got some ice crystals on it, because it was frozen in a bag like this, it's going to take a little while to cook some of that water out of it. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to cook the pork with it, and then we'll add our cabbage and stuff. So I'm going to slice up the cabbage really nice and fine too, but for the moment I'm just going to get this started. Sonnet helped me. Apollo and I were attempting to put a wall up, not very successfully, but we attempted it. So I shredded up a whole head of cabbage. We wilted that off with the pork mince. Sonnet added the pork mince slowly. We've added some oyster sauce, some soy sauce, a little bit of hoisin, garlic, mushroom salt, and cornstarch till we've got it into a nice sort of a sticky mix. Sonnet has given it the approval and it tastes pretty good. So now it needs to be chilled. So I might get Sonnet to grab a couple of baking trays out and we'll spread it out on baking trays to chill, so that it chills nice and quickly. And then I don't know if I'll wrap it in the spring roll pastry today or tomorrow, because I'm going to do the sausage rolls now. And this needs to be cold, otherwise the spring roll pastry will bust. So, yes, we might roll all the spring rolls up tomorrow, okay, and get it chilled for now. So you can probably go in a container rather than trays if we're not going to use it today. Okay. As bigger, wide container as you can rather than high, so it chills nice and quickly. And then, yeah, we will roll these up tomorrow. We'll fry some off to eat tomorrow, and the rest will stick in the freezer. But for now, I need to do the sausage rolls. So I'm going to cook up a little bit more of the mirepoix, but with some bacon, to use as the base of the sausage rolls. And I also have the rest of my sun-dried tomato cheese breadcrumbs. I'm going to use that in them as well, amongst other things. So we'll get this sorted and then I'll bring it back. All right, so the spring roll mince is in the fridge. Now we've got the other half of the mince for sausage rolls. Now it's around about 3 kilos of mince here, and I just do what I've got. I used the rest of the mirepoix that was in that bag, plus half a kilo of bacon cut up fine. I'm going to add that. Probably could do with a little bit more than what I've done to this ratio of mince, but it's going to be fine. So I cooked that up in the cast iron, and now we're just going to add it. Now, realistically, I should chill it before adding it because I'm going to add eggs and stuff, but the mince has been in the fridge and I'm just going to mix it through the mince first, which will chill it enough not to cause too many issues, because I really need to just get stuff done. It's already 1:45. The kids have had wraps and stuff for lunch. Schoolwork has been marked. We've done that wall, and all the cleaning and chores have been done, so they are on free time at the moment. So I just want to get this done and these in the oven so that I can get some non-kitchen stuff done as well. All right, so it's probably a kilo worth of bacon and vegetables and onion and garlic and stuff to that 3 kilos of mince. Now, let me give my hands a rinse. To that, I'm then going to add some eggs. I've got 4 eggs here. 3 kilos. I could add up to 1 egg per 500 grams, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to add these 4 because our mince is nice and fatty, and we've got the bacon and stuff in there as well. I think we've got plenty of liquid, so I'm just going to break those yolks up a bit, make them easier to blend through. Totally not the right tool or what I should be doing, but that's fine. So we've got 4 eggs in there. I'm going to add the crumbs that I've got. Let's go with half the bag to start with, and we may end up adding the other half. I'm going to add a bit of salt and pepper, sprinkle of salt, sprinkle of pepper, a significant amount of pepper because we like that. And I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce. And then we'll have a look at the texture. Oh. We might need some more breadcrumbs to counteract that Worcestershire sauce and stuff, but I only put 4 eggs in here, so we might not either. So let's just bring this together. Don't want to work the meat too much, but we also do want it slightly emulsified so that it stays together in the sausage rolls and doesn't fall apart as you bite into the pastry. So you do want it to be somewhat emulsified, which is why we're adding the eggs and we're working the meat and things like that. Because if you just put pork mince in there, then it would all cook and then it would crumble. And we don't want that. I'm actually pretty happy with the consistency here. It's sticky, tacky, but still you can see those fat streaks through it, the bits of veg. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I think I'm okay with that. Now, there should be plenty of flavour in that. We always serve it with pastry and ketchup too, so you know. Alright, so I'm going to now clean up my space so I've got room to get the pastry out and get my hands clean and stuff. Alright, I've let the pastry soften a little bit, and then all I need to do is score it in half. I've made this a few times on the channel, but we'll just do the basics. Score it in half. I like to have it the halves facing me. I find it easier to roll it that way, but I find it easier to cut vertically. So, you know, make things difficult for myself. And then we put the meat in it. And the meat you can weigh it out. It did end up being, it was like 105 grams or something worth of filling per half sheet. I did work that out at some point because I ran out of pastry and thought I could just freeze the meat in a log and then using the blue plastic as a guideline. And then when I had pastry again, I could just lay it in the pastry and do that, which I think would work quite well, but I didn't end up needing to do it. But it worked out about 105 grams per log of meat for half the pastry sheets, if that makes sense. So we just lay it out. We want it around about a third, because we're going to then curve the pastry. So then we just bring the pastry up over the top, and what I like to do is like to press that in, make sure it goes to the ends, and bring that down, and then keep on pressing until we get overlap. You don't need much overlap, just enough overlap that it's going to stick together, and then it gets like that and gets put on a baking tray. I like to cut them before I cook them because I like the crispy bits on each end, but they also just cook quicker that way. You can cook them in full logs, you can just score them. So either you can just score them like that and then cook them, egg wash them and cook them, or you can cut them all the way through. And I like to cut them all the way through because I like to get, as I said, those crispy ends on both ends, and I just find that they cook quicker like that. So I'm going to put all these onto trays. I'm going to egg wash them, and I'm going to put sesame seeds on them because that's how I like them. I'll show you them once they're all on trays, but I'm just going to repeat this process over and over again until I've used up all the mince. I've got another thing of pastry there, and I actually have another one in the freezer if I need it. So, but I shouldn't. Normally, I think it's 12 sheets of pastry or something for this quantity, but we'll see how we go because I never make it the same way twice because I measure things really, really well. So we'll get this done. Alright, there is 2 full trays in the oven already, so I'm just doing the next 2 trays. Egg wash, couple of eggs mixed with a little bit of water just to go on top. This will make the pastry brown nicely, but it will give something for the sesame seeds to stick to as well. So just brushing it on like that, grabbing my sesame seeds and just sprinkling them on the top haphazardly. Doesn't matter, I just like the way toasted sesame seeds taste with the pastry. So just gonna do that. Now I do have a couple of sheets of pastry still out that are softened now. I did think maybe I could do some apple pastries or something, but the thing is that I only fit 2 of these trays in the oven at a time, so that would be cooked afterwards anyway, so I may as well just stick them back in the freezer for the moment. Pull them out later if I want to, because I'm going to have to stick these in the fridge as it is, because they take about 30 to 45 minutes to cook, because I don't like to run the oven too high because I want them to cook all the way through and not burn the pastry. So I'm going to stick these in the fridge for the moment until the other batch are done. I'll put this pastry away for the moment and I'll show them to you when they're done, I suppose. As for anything else today, it is now 10 to 2. I'm going to sit down for a while because it'll be the first time I've sat down today. Might make myself another coffee and then see where I go from there. I don't know what you caught there because the mic wasn't turned on. So I probably could have done with a bit more breadcrumbs. There's a bit of excess fat. I've just moved they're a little bit soft on the bottom, but I've just moved them out of the fat line up and they will crisp up as they cool. I just tested one with some of the homemade apple butter barbecue, super tasty. So that was the sausage rolls. Now it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The other 2 trays are still cooking. This will probably end up being dinner. With Darryl not here and getting this done, may as well just eat them for dinner, I reckon, probably. I haven't pulled anything else out because I've got the other pork that needs to be turned into spring rolls, but I'm not going to do that this afternoon, so that will probably be tomorrow's dinner. I don't know. We'll see how we go, but I might do some veggies up to go with this. There's veggies in them and, you know, it's just, that's it. But this is what the sausage rolls end up looking like. It is Friday. It doesn't feel like Friday because I didn't work yesterday. I'm going to make up a couple of batches of brioche dough. I've got coconut cream and each batch uses half a tin. So I'm going to make 2 batches, which is actually 4 batches. I'm going to turn some into slider rolls to make the like Hawaiian roll things for lunch tomorrow, probably, maybe dinner, we'll see. I want to turn some into pizza scrolls because Kavik has requested pizza scrolls and they will eat them cold for days, so that's great. Maybe I'll do a sweet one as well. Maybe I'll do an apple cinnamon or something. I don't know, we'll figure it out. But I've got a tin of coconut cream open, so I'm going to make a double batch. I'm going to use parts of the starter that I haven't fed in days, so it's flat, but I need to feed it, so I'm going to use the discard and I'm going to use yeast as well. And I'll figure out what I'm going to do with it once it's proofed. Hamburger buns, maybe. Maybe I'll do a batch of hamburger buns for dinner tomorrow night. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. So normal standard recipe that is up on the website for the light brioche rolls. Half a tin of coconut cream, top it up. I've got water that I've warmed on the stove so that it's warm. So I'm just going to mix up a batch, stick it in a container, and then mix up a second batch and stick it in a container as well. One of the doughs has doubled the other one. I put a little less yeast in because I knew that I'd have to do them one after the other. This one I think I'll just make it all into slider rolls. So I'll do 2 trays of slider rolls. And then I can make the Hawaiian style rolls with 1 tray if I want, or like 2 days running or whatever. I don't care. But I think that's what I'll do with this, is just the slider style, even if some go in the freezer. So there's enough here for 2 trays worth at about the 70, I think is what I normally do the slider rolls at. So I'll just make it more handleable, and then about the 70-gram mark. And roll them into the small little balls like that, and then I'll put them in the cast iron tray. I'll do them in the cast iron with the high side so that they go up, not just out. And I don't know, I think I normally put 20 in each tray. We'll see how we go. All right, so the other batch of dough is
1.5 times the size, which is fine because I need to roll it out to roll it back up, so it doesn't need to be quite as proofed. There's enough there to make 2 sets of scrolls. I'm not going to make savoury ones because I've got those slider rolls that I will turn into savoury stuff. So I was trying to decide what I wanted to put in them. I've got a jar of blueberries off the shelf. I noticed that I still had 2 of those and I haven't been using them. So I've got a jar of blueberries off the shelf, and I'm going to add, I don't know, that much maple syrup. And then I'm going to heat this up, and when it's warm I'm going to add some cornstarch and make it into like a jam, and we're going to fill one of the scrolls with that. The other set of scrolls I might do with, I don't know, I could do white chocolate raspberry. I really liked that last time. And I've got raspberries in the freezer and white chocolate chips, so maybe we'll do that as 2 just sweet rolls for the next few days. All right, we're going to tip this out and I'm going to split it in half. Now, I do have a little bit of the other dough left because I don't know what I did wrong, but my calculations were off in the quantities of per roll for the slider rolls. I don't know what I did. So there's a little bit extra. So we're just going to add that to this, and we're just going to split this in half by eye because it doesn't really matter. And we'll put half back in the container to stay moist. And then we'll roll this half out. And as per usual, we are just rolling it out to approximately the size of the white rectangle on this mat, which I never remember to actually check how big that is. The mat in total is apparently 60 centimeters, so it must be 60 by 40 or something, so somewhere around that. And we'll just roll it out. I'll let it relax as needed, and then I'll roll it until it's all stretched out. All right, because I obviously wasn't thinking ahead of time, what a shock, I made the blueberries, and that's fine, but I obviously can't use it hot. So this batch here I'll use with the raspberries, and then what I'm going to do is I'm putting this in a stainless steel container, spread out along the bottom, and I'm going to dump this in the freezer for the 20 minutes it'll take me to do the other ones, and we should be all good. Ideally this would be cold, but it isn't. So now realistically this probably needs some sort of a sugar butter base, but I'm not doing that. So we're just going to do the raspberries and white chocolate, and hopefully the raspberries will make enough liquid, and if they don't, then we'll put icing on it and it'll be all good. So I'm going to just, I'm crushing these as I go so that they're on little pieces to make it easier to roll up. I'm going to grab that white chocolate for me, Sonnet. And Sonnet's going to sprinkle the white chocolates that make it from the bag to here, not in her mouth, onto evenly across this for me. Now this is going to proof pretty slowly because of the frozen berries, and the chocolate chips came out of the freezer as well. But that's probably going to work well for me because by the time I get this sorted, the slider rolls should probably be ready to go in, and they will take 25 odd minutes. And then I got to do the other ones of these as well, so it just means that they'll follow each other through the process. Nope, never mind. Go away. Take the bag with you as well, please, and put it in the freezer. just moving them somewhat evenly. And then I'm just going to roll it up. Stop stealing them!
That was the raspberry this time.
Uh-huh. And grab me a couple of the stainless steel trays. I think some are on the sink still. I need 2 deep ones, 2 shallow ones, please. All right, serrated knife, my black serrated knife, please. Thank you.
Why do you have to sit right here?
Because the other one roll I'm going to do blueberry with
Oh.
dark chocolate. All right, I like to cut these into 20. I use a serrated knife. I find that the easiest thing. Still not a neat job, and they're still never quite right, but it works. So I mark out 19 lines. Sometimes I get it first go, sometimes it takes me a few. I have to remember how I normally do it. All right, and then we just cut it. Now, as always, the end pieces I tend to put towards the middle of the pan because they are generally less full, slightly smaller. So if I put them in the middle, then they are getting less heat initially. But these actually look kind of neat. So I'm just going to put them all on the baking tray and let them do their next proof, which will take a while because of the frozen blueberries. In the meantime, the frozen blueberries will defrost, turn everything pink, and put raspberry juice all over the bottom of the pan. I'm not entirely sure whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, but we will see. I probably should have added some sugar or something because then it would have turned into like a raspberry syrup, but you know, we'll eat them regardless. Yep. The blueberries, they've set up a little bit more. It's warm to the touch, but it's not hot. We'll just be messy and careful with the proofing time. So this is probably what I should have done with the raspberries, mind you. But the only reason I did it with the blueberries was because there was all the blueberry juice in the jar as well. So that juice needed to be turned jammy, which is why I did it this way, whereas the raspberries could be used as is. So I don't know. We'll see what the difference in flavour is. We'll add icing if need be. So just spreading out the blueberries like that. It's nice and thick. It shouldn't be too bad for roll up. And then just because we're doing dessert, I'm going to add just a couple of handfuls of just the Costco semi-sweet chocolate chips, not the quantity that's on the raspberry ones, because this has got maple syrup in the berries, so the berries themselves will be sweet as well, whereas the raspberries will not be sweet, so the white chocolate is what's going to help with sweetening that, but this will add texture to them. So, and then I'm just going to roll it up, which is probably going to be a little bit messy. It's probably not as firmly rolled as it could be, which just means it's not going to have a really nice looking spiral to it, but the kids do not care what it looks like. And we just do the same, roll it so that the joint is on the bottom, even out the sausage a little bit, and then mark it and slice it and put it on a tray. All right, so we've got the raspberry and the blueberry. Blueberry is definitely sloppier because of the jam. Raspberry, potentially not sweet enough, so we'll see which one works. They'll both be tasty. So I'm just going to put a tray on top and let these proof while I have to pull the spring roll pastry out, but I think the slider buns will need cooking too. So I will pull the spring roll pastry out to soften and the mince out to just warm up just a touch. I got the spring roll pastry out softening. This is what the slider rolls look like. So they are proofed. So I'm just going to gently egg wash them just because it looks nice and it gives the sesame seeds something to stick to, same as the sausage rolls and stuff. And we have plenty of eggs at the moment, so I'm not using eggs that I need for anything else to do so. So, like that. Sprinkle with sesame seeds. I've just turned the oven on, which means that these are going into a just slightly warm oven, so they will do their last little proof in there, and I'll get both trays in and they will bake. As is always the case when I'm trying to get stuff done, I got a message from someone who needs to drop by. I think I'm getting water delivered this afternoon, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be tomorrow morning instead, which is fine either way. And I told him that, which is why I'm not entirely sure what's happening. So, you know, and it's already 4:30. Anyway, spring rolls. This is spring roll pastry. It is a pain in the butt. This is it here. You buy it frozen, you have to soften it, but it has to stay moist, so it's in wet paper towel. It sticks to itself really badly, which, you know, is a pro when it comes to rolling them, but a con when it comes to trying to pull them apart. So, you know, so all I do is I put 2 scoops of the spring roll mixture in, and then roll it so that it's in a nice-ish shape. I bring the corners in and on both sides like that, so it's in a nice sort of a uniformish shape, and bring that up and then roll that towards the end. I've got a little bit of cornstarch water here just for the very end. We roll it into that and we have a spring roll. It's really not that difficult, and you can get some pretty neat looking spring rolls with very little effort. It's just time consuming, and the most time consuming part is peeling the sheets off. I show you, it's just annoying. So we've got wet paper towel because they have to stay, you have to keep them moist. This packet obviously had a tear in it, which is fine. I'm just working around that. And then you just take an edge and gently peel. If you go too rough, you tear it. But go too gentle and it just takes far too long. Now, I don't know if there's something that I'm doing wrong with this. Obviously, I don't have like a family tradition of making spring rolls or anything like that. I'm purely basing it on my own experience. I don't know if there's a right and a wrong side of these. It doesn't appear to be. And I have made spring rolls many times, so all I'm doing is the same method I have always used, and that works for us. So if you have any tips, like if you know something that I'm not doing quite right, feel free to let me know, because this is just me doing what works. Now, ideally, I would like more meat per pastry for a nutritional ratio base, like less pastry, more meat, but they just don't work. They end up busting when you try and cook them, and it ruins the whole point of it. So, like, if you're going to go the effort of making spring rolls, make them you know, nice spring rolls. I like to fry these, shallow fry, like 1.5 inches of oil, shallow fry, roll them. You can spray them with cooking spray and bake them though, personal preference, or I'd imagine you could air fry them. So all I'm going to do is just work my way through them. I'm going to get as much as I can get done. If I don't get it all done, I will put this back in the fridge and make more tomorrow to go in the freezer because it's already cooked, so that's fine. It just depends on whether we have people turn up or what happens. So I'm just going to keep on going. So we ended up with about 50 packets worth. So we'll cook some up tonight and the rest will go in the freezer for another snack meal, whatever. So I've got just a fry pan with 1.5 inches of oil going up to 175. It's a bit hotter than that at the moment, so but it'll cool down when we add these, and we'll fry them off. And this will serve them with the sweet chili sauce. This is what the scrolls look like when they came out of the oven. We got poor lighting at the moment. I haven't done the lighting here. So we've got the blueberry and the blueberry milk chocolate, raspberry white chocolate. I just did a quick cream cheese icing up. So it's just cream cheese, a bit of cream, and lemon juice and icing sugar. And I'm just going to put a tiny, and butter, tiny bit on each one. I don't want to overdo it, but you know, icing's always nice on these things. And I'm just not sure, especially the raspberry ones. I think the raspberry ones will be a little under sweet because I didn't add any sugar to the fruit mix, whereas at least the blueberry ones I turned it into a bit of a jam first, so they will be sweeter. If I have some extra icing, I might put it in the fridge to do something with in the next day or two, because I don't want to overdo the icing. Something not good enough for your liking. So, and there we go. So we just got a little bit of icing on each one, melted in like I like. So I like to do it while they're warm so that it melts in. And the kids are starting to serve up themselves with the spring rolls. I'm just finishing cooking enough for everyone, and the rest will go in the freezer. So dessert, dinner, and lunch sorted for tomorrow as well. This is what the spring rolls look like, all cooked, shallow fried, super tasty. We've got the homemade sweet chili sauce to go with them as well. I don't think I showed the buns yet either. So this is one of the trays of slider rolls. I got the second tray in there as well. So these are going to get put away for tomorrow. I said I iced the scrolls. I'm going to put some of these spring rolls in the freezer. I'm going to see if anyone wants any more to cook up here, and then I'm done.